I was flying home to meet my fiancé's parents for the first time. Before my flight, I stopped at a cozy cafe near the airport. I've never liked sitting around in terminals. The hum of a cafe always feels more human. As I sipped my cappuccino, a woman walked in. Her clothes were torn, her hair unkempt, and her eyes tired, but kind. She hesitated near the counter, mumbling softly, "Could someone help me buy a cup of coffee?" Some people turned away. Others pretended not to hear. When she approached my table, I looked up and smiled. "What would you like?" I asked. She paused, almost embarrassed. "Jamaican Blue Mountain," she said quietly. It was the most expensive option on the menu. When I raised an eyebrow, she added, "It's my birthday. I've always wanted to taste it. Just once." That honesty hit me right in the chest. So I ordered her the coffee, and when I saw her glance at the cake display, I added a slice of chocolate fudge too. We sat together while she told me about her life, how she'd once been a nurse, how her husband left, how a medical bill snowballed into debt, eviction, and eventually the streets. She wasn't looking for pity. She just wanted to be heard. Before I left, I slipped her $100. "For your next few meals," I said. She tried to refuse, but I pressed it into her palm. "Happy birthday," I whispered, and hurried off to catch my flight. Hours later, when I finally settled into my first-class seat, I glanced up as someone sat beside me, and my heart— If you're watching this, don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell me in the comments where you're listening from. Gone were the tattered clothes. Her hair was neat, her face radiant, her outfit tailored and elegant. A diamond-studded watch sparkled on her wrist. I blinked. "Wait, what's happening?" She smiled, calm and amused. "Didn't expect to see me again, did you?" I could barely speak. "Not like this, no." She chuckled softly. "You gave me more than coffee today. You gave me the benefit of the doubt. Not many people do that anymore." My mind spun. "You said it was your birthday. You said you were homeless, were you?" She nodded slowly. "I wasn't lying. It is my birthday. And not long ago I was homeless. But things changed, recently. Very recently." As the flight attendant poured her a glass of champagne, she leaned back and said, "These days, I like to remember where I came from. Sometimes I dress the way I used to, walk into places like that cafe, and see how people treat me. You were the only one who looked at me, really looked at me." I stared at her, still trying to process it all. "So, who are you really?" She smiled and reached into her bag, pulling out a business card. "Monica Ellery, founder, Back on Track Foundation." I blinked again. I knew that name. My fiancé had volunteered for one of their food drives last year, a nonprofit helping homeless women rebuild their lives. "You're her?" I gasped. She nodded, sipping her champagne. "Once upon a time, I was on the streets. But I found help, got clean, rebuilt myself. Now I run the foundation that helped me. Full circle, right?" I didn't know what to say. She laughed softly. "You know, I've been looking for someone like you. We've been trying to expand our digital outreach. We need someone who gets the heart behind what we do. Would you consider meeting my team?" I stared at her, half laughing. "Are you offering me a job at 30,000 feet?" She grinned. "I'm offering a conversation. Let's start there." The rest of the flight felt like something out of a dream. She wasn't performing for cameras. She was humble, warm, genuine. When we landed, she handed me a folded note as we left the plane. Inside was a handwritten birthday card that read, "To the stranger who saw me, not my clothes, thank you for reminding me that kindness doesn't need applause. You reminded me why I do what I do." I tucked it into my wallet. That weekend, meeting my fiancé's parents went beautifully. But the memory of that flight stayed with me. A few days later, I told my fiancé's father about it. He's a business consultant, and when I said her name, his eyes widened. "You mean Monica Ellery?" he said, pulling up a photo of her shaking hands with the mayor at a charity gala. "That's her," I whispered. He smiled. "You should follow up. People like that don't cross your path twice."
So I did.
A week later, I visited her foundation. The space was small, cozy, filled with framed photos of smiling families and volunteers. We talked for hours about life, loss, and how one act of kindness can ripple across thousands of lives. She introduced me to her team, some of whom had once been homeless themselves. One woman, Bernice, had lived in her car with her son before Monica helped her get a job and an apartment. Another, Roger, used to sell handmade bracelets downtown. Now he ran the foundation store. Their stories weren't polished PR lines. They were real, raw, and full of hope. Eventually, I joined the team. The pay wasn't glamorous, but the purpose was. I started by rewriting the website, then launched a campaign inspired by our story. Coffee with a Stranger. We encouraged people to buy coffee for someone in need and share a few minutes of conversation. The stories poured in. A woman in Chicago discovered the man she bought coffee for used to be her high school art teacher. Two veterans reunited after 15 years apart. A teen helped a homeless mother get her first job interview. Kindness was spreading one cup at a time. A year later, Monica asked me to speak at our annual gala. I was nervous, but I told the whole story: the cafe, the birthday coffee, the woman who changed my life. I ended with this. Some people say kindness is wasted on strangers, that you never know who deserves it. But that day, I didn't care. Because kindness isn't about what you get back. It's about who you choose to be. The audience rose to their feet in applause. After the event, Monica handed me a small velvet box. Inside was a watch, the same one she'd worn on the plane. She smiled. A reminder: time and chance favor the kind-hearted. I hugged her. Couldn't help it. Months passed. Our foundation grew. We opened new centers, helped more families, and changed countless lives. When I married my fiancé that spring, Monica gave a toast. I came to thank a stranger for a cup of coffee, she said. And I left with a friend for life. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. And now, every year on her birthday, I go to that same cafe. I buy someone a cup of Jamaican Blue Mountain. I sit. I listen. Sometimes they talk. Sometimes they cry. Sometimes they just smile. But every time, I'm reminded of one thing. You never know who you're helping, or who's about to change your life in return. Blue Heart.